Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about stylings. And if you're going to use styles as an import, just like the header.js or with a link inside the HTML, that is cool. That's good. Anyways. But sometimes we cannot use CSS and we need to fall back to some JavaScript logic. So I'm gonna show you some different ways. And this is not React. This is just JavaScript logic, programming logic. So okay, so what I want to do, I want to add a background to the header right here. I want to change it to, I don't know, red. I'm gonna say const style, and then I just create an object with the style of the background. It's gonna say background, and then this one is gonna be equal to red. So now if we want to pass the style, we say style equal to the style, just like that. Okay, so that's good. You know, it's working. We know this. But what happens if what I want to do, I want to check if the keywords are empty, if this input it's empty, and leave it at one color, but as soon as I start typing something, I want to change the color to something else. So then we need to go and fall back to some JavaScript logic. We could say if the keywords are empty, remember that the keywords, we have them on state whenever we change them. So we could change the state of that, and if they are empty, we're going to do something. If not, we're going to do something else. So I could do something like this, state that keywords, it's different than this, than empty, and we're going to say style.background, just like that. It's going to be equal to blue. Okay, let me match it. And then if not, we're going to do else, and we're going to do the opposite of this. So I'm going to say red, whatever. Doesn't matter. So if I type something, it's going to change to blue. If I go back to empty, it stays as red. So we could use some logic like this using the state of things. Okay. So, okay, we could do something else. Let's do something different. I'm going to just comment this for now, just for now. And what I want to do, I want to say that the style of the header is going to be red. So right here inside styles, what we can do, we can pass styles directly. And what we need to do, we need to use double curly braces. So now right here, what I could do, I could say background and it's equal to red, something like that. And of course, we're going to get the background red. So most of the times you're going to be using this whenever you have some dynamic data and you need to put the background image and then your URL, where you can do something like this. Now again, if I type something, this is not dynamic. So I need to change this, this value dynamically. So how can I do that? Well, we can use the state. For example, I'm going to go to state and I'm going to say active. And whenever the application starts, this active is going to be false. So now what I can do right here, I can check if the state that active, it's true and show red, and if it's false, show blue. So I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to be using template strings. Template strings are really, really cool. We can do operations inside. So I'm going to do $, open and close curly braces. So now right here, what we can do some ternary operation. This, that state, that active, something like that. And if it's false, we're going to set it to red. And if it's not, we're going to set it to blue. Okay, something like that. Okay, so let's see if it's working. I'm going to do this and type something and delete and nothing happens. And this is because we are not changing the state of active. Remember that we are doing it right here. So to do this, we will have to go to the input change handler and create a variable that is going to be checking if it's empty or not and set the new state. So I'm going to say const, I don't know, style, makes sense? No, let's change it to value. Something different. So we're going to catch that event, that target, that value, and we're going to check if it's empty or not. So if it's equal to empty, we're going to say that the state is going to be false. If not, it's going to be true. Good. So now we have the true or false inside of a variable whenever we type something and we pass the event to input change handler. So now we need to change the state of active to whatever value we are getting out of this. And then I'm going to do comma. And of course, the state is going to change. If I type something, it's change it. And if it's not, if it's empty, we go back to blue. So you can use some logic like this using the state and changing state. Okay, so let me give you one more. Let's say that instead of just passing the inline styling just like this, what I want to do, I want to change, just a class. Okay, so I'm going to delete all of this. I'm sorry for the deleting and the not deleting. So what I could say, that state, that active. So this, in fact, is going to be a class and not some styles. So I'm going to go to active right here at the bottom, at the top, sorry. And I can say that this active is going to be equal to active. Just like that. Active. The default state, it's going to be active. So now right here, instead of changing to true from true or false, what we can do, we can swap classes. We can say that the new state of active is going to be active or non-active. It's going to say active, and then let me change it to non-active. Makes sense? Non-active. Okay. So now it's going to reload. Oh, we get an error message. I made a mistake right here at the bottom. Let me see. What am I doing? That state at active. Oh, of course, it's not a style. It's going to be the class name. Sorry for that. Okay, so everything works. If I type something, of course, it's not working. But if I change if I check the console, let me check the class name of this. For now, whenever we start, it's going to be active. But if I type something, it's going to change to non-active. And if I go back to 0, we get back active. So we're swapping classes right here. And we can do the same thing. We can add the CSS. We can add that active and not active class to the style CSS, and it's going to work. It's a different way of doing things, You have 3 different methods to do this. Of course, we have a lot more methods, and that's the main point of this section and the next section. So we can change all of this just like this. Again, it's up to you, but we have tons of libraries for stylings, and they are really cool. So let's check them out. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use a plugin for this. We have tons of plugins to work with the CSS. So first I'm going to delete all of this because we are not going to need it at all. So let me just delete this, just go back, let me delete. All right, almost done. And delete this state, good. So now I'm going to go to news list item, and we're going to test this library from news list item. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to say React, and the library is going to call Glamour. Not when you just Glamour, something like that. And we're going to get it right here. 3.1 Glamour. So with this dependency, with this module, what we can do, we can use CSS, inline CSS, just like this. And then Glamour is going to work, it's going to do its job, and we can pass the rules, we can pass hovers, we can even use media queries, and then it's going to pass it as a rule or as a class name or whatever. It's really cool. So let's install this first, and I'm going to show you how it's going to work. Let me kill the server, of course, and we need to do npm install, and then it's going to be called Glamour, so just like that, and then -- save. So this one is a little bit slow, so it's going to take a little while to install it. Almost done. Okay, it's done. So I'm going to do clear, and I'm going to do npm start again. So now to use it, first we need to require the library. So I'm going to go back to the project and say import, and in curly braces say CSS. So this is actually the instructions from Glamour. I'm not making this up right here. So it's going to be CSS and then from and then Glamour. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to create a rule to pass it right here to this news item, to this one right here. So I'm going to go before the return, and I'm going to create a variable that is going to be called news_item, something real simple. And first we need to invoke this method that we are requiring on top. And this method is going to take an object. And right here, we can pass whatever class we want. So what I want to do, I'm going to make this a little bit better, just a little bit better. I'm going to add a padding, and the padding is going to be 20 pixels, something like that. Of course, it's an object, so we need to do comma. Then we need to use box sizing, good. And the sizing is going to be border, border box. Then comma, and I'm going to add a border and then bottom of 1 pixel. 1 pixel, solid gray. Good, makes sense. So now we have the style. We are not getting any errors, looks good. It says that we have this variable and it's not being used. We're going to use it in a minute. So now to use this class, because we are pretty much creating a class, what we can do, we can go to the actual element where we need that class, and we can say in curly braces, dot, and then the name of the class, which is going to be news item. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And if we reload, we get it. It's working. It seems like I made a mistake right here. Border bottom should be working now. And there you go. It works really, really, really cool. So, okay, what happens if I want to add 2 different styles, 2 different classes right here? Well, again, we could create a new variable that is going to be item and gray or something like that. And then, of course, we need to use the CSS, open the method, and pass an object. And I could say background, something like that, of gray. Let's use light gray. I believe it's like that, light gray. Very good. So now if I want to pass a second class, what we can do, it's the same process, dot, and then item gray. Okay, and we get it. It's using both classes. This dot that we're using right here, it's ES6. It's not, from Glamour. It's ES6. It's saying grab all the properties that we have inside that element and put them inside of here. That's what pretty much it's doing. So okay, we can use more things. What happens if I want to add a hover, just a hover right here on each element? Well, I'm going to do comma, I'm going to go below here, and what we say is colon and then hover, just like that. And then, of course, this is going to be something else, and then color, and we're going to change it to red. Makes sense? Good. So it's whenever we do hover, we are going to change it to red. And, it's working. Works really, really nice. So what else? What else we can do? We have a few more things. So what happens if we want to work with media queries? Again, just like the hover right here, we can add a media query for this element. So we're going to say add, then media, then of course we need to open and close, and I'm going to say max width. You can do min width. It's up to you. This is just CSS. And then we're going to say 500 pixels, whatever. And then of course we say colon, and we pass the styles. In this case, I'm going to change the whole color to blue, whatever. Good. So I'm going to reload the page. Of course, I'm going to make it, and there we go. It's catching that media query. So, okay, we can do a lot of things. You can check the documentation. We have it all right here. You have the docs. You have some demos. So you can check this out. But don't do it just now. We're going to be doing some other stuff. Let's say that, for example, we are creating an instance. So this is going to be kind of a class name. And right here, we are kind of injecting a data attribute. Let me just do an inspect and show you. Let's go, let me make it bigger. So I'm going to go to elements and select each element. So, right here, we didn't have the class and the name of this. We have a data attribute. And if we go to header, we can see that it's appending all the styles right here, but this is as a data attribute. So again, this library is going to give us the ability to use classes. So I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to add a class name. So instead of a data attribute, what we can do, we can pass a template strings with the value of whatever class you're creating right here at the top. So I'm going to say this. And then, of course, I'm going to be adding the item gray. So we do the same. $, open and close, and then item gray. This is template strings, okay, guys? If you're getting confused with this, it's because you need to learn a little bit more about ES6. Remember that the last module of this course is going to be a whole course with ES6. So okay, we are still getting it, and now we are getting a class of this. And if we check the head right here, we are getting the classes. Good. So, this works. Right. So what else? You can use this approach. If you like this one, you can use it. It's not bad. These methods are not bad. They work really good. So we are going to be talking about something else. We're going to be going to the next section because this video went too long. And we're going to be talking about CSS modules. That's kind of a new concept. I'm going to show you how to use it. It's going to get a little bit confusing, but don't worry. We're gonna do it right. Practically do it on the project, and we're going to be using that one. Okay. So let's go to the next section.